Darvin Gatlin coming to you live from DGAT TV, and I got a special guest with me.
This is Chris. How you doing?
So the reason why everyone is hype about Black Panther is actually multiple reasons. First of all, this is not Black Panther's first time on the screen. His first showing was the Avengers. This is not Black Panther's first time in existence because he was first created, he first came about in Marvel's comics in Fantastic Four. I think it was issue number 52 in July 1966. Okay? Cool thing about Black Panther is his storyline is unlike any other superhero. It's not a generic storyline. This storyline is awesome. Pretty much takes place in Africa, which is one thing right there that's a big difference between most of the superhero movies that take place in America. So that's the cool thing about that. Second thing is Black Panther himself is, as far as a race part that everybody has been taking it to. If you want to take it that way, the reason why people are hyped is because you actually have a movie that does not have poor production. The black person actually has a starring role as the superhero. He's not drunk. He's not strung out on drugs. He's not poor. He's not just destroyed. He's actually a king who is very rich. Even his homeland is rich. And he actually had to earn the right to the throne. He had to earn the throne himself. It was not something that was given to him. He has wealth that is pretty much untouchable compared to these other superheroes. Iron Man cannot match this man's wealth. Batman cannot match this man's wealth. For God's sakes, he owns Wakanda. His suit is made out of vibranium. He is completely indestructible. And he's able to go, because of that suit, toe-to-toe with almost any superhero out there. And it's not only that, but the homeland has that precious material. Vibranium is more plentiful in Wakanda than it is anywhere else in the world. Kind of like a symbolism of the golds and metals and precious metals that were in Africa in the nonfiction realm. So that's the cool thing about Black Panther. It has a lot of hidden subliminal messages in there that everybody can vibe to. And not only that, but it still ties in to today's present-day comic relief. We can laugh at it. We can all have fun together. So this is not about a racial divide. This should be a movie that we can all enjoy at the same time, but get a little bit of, historical education in the process. So that's why Black Panther is a big hype right now for me.
What I liked about the film was the fact that the predominantly black cast, which were mostly stars, they did so well portraying their characters, putting a new spin on it. Ryan Coogler did an amazing job as far as putting his own spin on it, because if he just went the traditional route, just made it a traditional playing by the book Black Panther film, I don't think it would have been as great as it came out to be. Right from the bat, you knew who all the characters were. You understood the story of Wakanda. You also understood the story of the Black Panther himself, T'Challa. You understood what's going on. You understood everything about the film. Even if you've never watched another Marvel movie, it could be a standalone film if it wanted to be. What I think is incredible is that the vibranium inside the metal that they have in Wakanda is pretty symbolic of the natural resources that Africa is really plentiful in, really to this day. A lot of people assume that when you look on television, all of Africa is poor, all of Africa is destroyed. It's all a bunch of starving kids, for 10 cents a day you can feed so-and-so. It's nothing like that. People don't realize that Africa is probably, it's not just the biggest continent in the world, it's also the wealthiest. And the people from Africa, some of the most genius people in the world, and the main character himself is a reflection of that.
And, not just the main character, but one character I also want to touch on is Michael B. Jordan. Now, Michael B. Jordan is an awesome character in this storyline, and the reason why is because it's like you have the good and bad. It kind of shows what T'Challa could have been had not it played out the way it did for him. So Michael B. Jordan kind of simplifies, it kind of explains why most black people in today's society are so angry. They were stripped from their rights. They were stripped from their thrones. They had it hard. You know what I'm saying? They were put into their atmosphere was basically created. It's an artificial atmosphere. It's not the atmosphere that they naturally grown up in and are naturally accustomed to. It's not the homeland for them. Okay, so in addition to that, the cool thing about that is you get to see how that plays out. And then another topic that I want to touch on is everybody dressing up for the movie. Pete the dashiki. Dashikis are awesome, by the way. So it's no different than any other superhero movie or any other movie that people dress up for. It's called cosplay, okay? So, you know, when Star Wars came out, people were dressing up for Star Wars. They were going all out. This gives, if you want to touch on the race subject, black people the opportunity to celebrate their heritage when going to see a movie. It gives them something to be excited about because it portrays their heritage in a positive way. And it also portrays our heritage in a positive way to where we can share it with everyone else and everybody can enjoy this movie as a whole. We're not racially divided watching this movie. I sat in there with my brother. We were able to enjoy this movie with all different types of races. It was peaceful. It was a nice movie. The movie was well put together, and it puts it in a way that everyone can start to understand the African heritage and start to understand how, you know, just black people in today's society feel entirely as far as emotions go, and you know what it's like to grow up that way and what it could be when they're portrayed in a positive form, when they're not portrayed as somebody that's always aggressive, somebody that's poor, somebody that's broke, you know, just the typical story. So I really like that it gives it a unique spin-off in a way. Black Panther overall is just an awesome movie to see. I think that everybody should go see it. Everyone should have fun watching this movie because there is no right or wrong reason for going to see the movie. You going to see the movie is a good enough reason. So, you know, if somebody's hype about it, don't kill their vibe, let them be great, you know? It's an awesome movie. Everybody has the right to be excited about it, you know? And if a black individual is hype about being, you know, going to see this movie, let them be hype about this. Let them have that moment because who's to say we'll have another moment like that?
He touched on something that was you know, incredible. You know, he talked about you know, being excited about our heritage again. As black people, or as Africans, as I should say, we're the only race on Earth that is in no way, shape, or form connected to our actual heritage. How many black people do you see walking around speaking Swahili, or Afrikaans, or you know, anything remotely close to what we speak in Africa? You know, when you ask a typical black person if he's ever been to Africa, does he know anything about Africa, the most he could probably tell you is that maybe it's the biggest continent in the world, you know, and if they even know that much, you know, I for one, I'm very proud to see my people finally enjoying, you know, something about themselves. When you hear, you know, people talk about Africa, a lot of people, they won't say it, but they're almost ashamed of it. You know, people are ashamed to have the nappy afros. People are ashamed to have, you know, the darker skin, you know, the wider noses, the big full lips, you know. And in my opinion, all of that is beautiful. You know, we have every shade that you could think of, from chalk to charcoal. You know, we're all here. But overall, I give it a 5 out of 5. This is in my opinion, and it's not just because it's a black film and not because it had a black director producing all that kind of stuff, but I think it's the best film that Marvel has ever put together, point blank period.
And I'm gonna actually put my input in that. Not highly agree. Once again, not because it's a black film, but it's a very great film. Everybody going to see this movie, you didn't know how it was going to play out. This was a kind of movie where you couldn't really predict what was going to happen next. And that was the real cool thing about that, you know. So all in all, it's a good movie. Everybody should be able to enjoy it. There's no wrong reason for going to see the movie. I think everybody should have, and everybody should go see this movie and enjoy it while watching it. And, you know, just make sure you learn something from it. You have something to take away, because I believe everybody can learn something from this movie. And that's all I got.
I just want to do that. It's so cool. I like this one.
Yeah, it's cool.